There are two big things looming for every student: exams and the election. Here at NSTV, we want to make at least one as simple as possible by creating this series that gets to grips with exactly what the parties are going to do come the election. I sat down with Lillian Greenwood, who's Nottingham South Labour candidate, to grill her on the big issues.
I know that many students today are worried about the level of fees that they're paying at £9,000 a year, particularly those who perhaps voted Liberal Democrat last time and feel badly let down. So the first thing that a Labour government will do is we're going to cut the level of tuition fees down to a maximum of £6,000 a year. We've explained precisely how we can pay for that. I guess, like many people, I wish we would be able to go further, but that's our immediate commitment. Well, I mean, obviously public transport's a huge issue for students and young people because many of them can't afford or don't have the ability to drive a car. So as I've been Labour's Shadow Rail Minister now for almost 3 years, and before that did local transport. On the railways, we think we need to get a better deal for passengers and taxpayers, and that's why we're committed to a reform of our railways and looking at the whole franchising system, because in many cases we don't think that the private train operators are giving us the best deal. You might remember that the East Coast service from London through to Edinburgh was run by the public sector operator, recently privatised, and the successful company that had achieved record passenger satisfaction, record punctuality and good returns to the Treasury weren't even allowed to bid, even though the public sector operators of France and Germany and the Netherlands were. So we think that needs to change. I think Labour's got a really strong record on the whole issue of climate change. Of course, Ed Miliband, when he was a cabinet minister in the last Labour government, was the first cabinet minister to set up the Department for Energy and Climate Change and the Climate Change Act. We're committed to the decarbonisation of electricity generation by 2030.
Perhaps the most important issue to me, I mean, I'm a Londoner, I should admit, but is housing, and the fact that I grew up in North London. I'm probably not going to be able to afford a house there till I'm 30 or 40, if that, even if I get a good job. Well,
as you know, Labour's committed to building 200,000 houses a year by 2020. Everybody knows that we're not building enough homes at the moment, probably not even meeting half of that target this year. And it doesn't all lie with the current administration. For a long period we haven't been building enough homes, so that's one of the things. If you're in the private rented sector, unfortunately in a lot of cases there isn't the quality and prices are very expensive. So we've got a number of proposals for tackling that. We've said that we're going to introduce a national register of landlords, which is important in trying to tackle rogue landlords and poor quality housing. We are committed to making sure that we do reduce the deficit over the coming period. That's why we've made careful manifesto commitments. Everything has been fully costed, and none of our commitments require extra borrowings. But we also need to be conscious of protecting the things that matter to us, like our national health services, like our public services, like our bus services. These are things that matter to us. Well, I think the NHS is Labour's proudest achievement. In 2010 we had record patient satisfaction with our NHS. Unfortunately, 5 years on, we're not in that position. Just over the road at Queen's Medical Centre, they haven't hit their target for accidents and emergency waiting times since August 2013, and we've seen privatisation taking shape in our hospitals. We don't think that's good enough. We're going to use the money from a mansion tax on homes worth over £2 million and a levy on tobacco companies to pay for it, and that will give us the money to employ 20,000 extra nurses, 8,000 extra GPs, more home care workers and more midwives.